Our stories are a collection of moments tucked away deep inside our hearts and minds. Moments from the past. For some of us, what happened in the past can limit our present or cloud the future. We hear a voice from within, a voice that says, "You are damaged goods. You are disqualified, weak." What this world sees as broken, Jesus sees as beautiful. So may your grief bring about His goodness. May your pain bring out trust in His promises. The past that brought us shame can find renewal in one name.
All right, good morning. Hey, we're kicking off this year with our theme Devoted, and we're walking through these three words that you see up here on the screen. We finally got the print done and everything, and got them up. And trust, live, and serve. And last week we talked about trust. What does it mean to trust in the Lord? And today we're going to talk about what it means to live for the Lord. And next week we're going to talk about what it means to serve the Lord. And throughout the course of the year, you're going to hear those three words. You're going to hear what it looks like to be devoted. And today, as we talk about weaving our story in with God's story and God's story being woven in with us, I want to ask you some really hard questions today. So if you need to get up and leave right now, okay, you're all ready for hard questions. All right, good. Most of us have heard about the Navy SEAL teams, right? We've heard about the Navy SEAL teams. We hear about these kind of ghosts in the night, right? And they are these elite. We have a picture. There you go. That's one of the SEAL teams that's out on duty, and these guys are elite special forces branches of the U.S. Navy. Anybody in the Navy in here? Come on, I know one guy. Thanks for the ride. Yeah, so when you're a Marine, the Navy just gives you a ride somewhere. And so whenever a Marine meets a sailor, they just say, "Thanks for the ride." And the Navy's like, "Yep, you're welcome." But these guys are trained beyond exhaustion, right? These are the guys who stay up for 72 hours straight. Rehearsed beyond memory. Everything they do, muscle memory, brain memory, just everything clicks, and they do it so often over and over again that there's never a question. Within seconds, they know exactly what to do because they've done it over and over again, and they're conditioned beyond comfort. They have pushed their bodies, they've pushed their minds, they've pushed their souls beyond what most of us would be willing to do. And the Navy SEALs are the ones who are often sent, alongside other special forces in other branches of the armed forces. The Navy SEALs, especially SEAL Team 6, are the guys who are sent in to do the stuff that nobody else wants to do, but we all need it done, right? These are the guys who do the really hard, the really special tasks that take calculated precision and unbelievable levels of expertise. Just unbelievable levels. SEAL team members are selected from a wide range of military disciplines. So there's guys who just know every different aspects of what it means to be in the military, and they're pulled from their regular duties. Sometimes there's somebody says, "Hey, I see in you the ability to be a SEAL, and I think you need to go to training." And it's considered one of the most rigorous, one of the most grueling, one of the most painful, one of the most intense trainings in the entire world. The only place that is seen as more challenging, more difficult, is the South Korean Special Forces, the ROKs. So, want to try out? You ready? Hundreds of people, hundreds of individuals try out to be Navy SEALs every year, and very few make it. Very few ever make it to wear the badge, this badge, the Navy SEALs. And if you see one of those, you know that guy has been through it, right? You ever see one of those emblems on a uniform, you know that guy, well, they've been through it. And some of the statements that come out of the SEAL's lifestyle, well, okay, let me say it this way. Some of the statements we can say in church that come out of the SEAL lifestyle and the SEAL motto is this: the only easy day was yesterday. The only easy day was yesterday. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's another one of their wonderful sayings, right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. None of us want to do that, right? All of us want to go home this afternoon on a rainy, chilly day and just get comfortable, right? And they're like, no, we're out. We're doing our job. We're out there in the middle of uncomfortable. Another statement they make is the more sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. The more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. And this is the one that is my favorite. You're going to love this. If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. There's somebody in the room right now who's like, what? I make my bed every morning. We make our bed every morning. Our rule at our house is last one out makes the bed. Yeah, so some mornings it's like, you got it, right? We make our bed every day. There's just something about that discipline, right? Every single day, right? You want to change the world, start off by making your bed. Navy SEAL statement. Those all sound pretty good, right? Yeah, right? Words you can live by. And SEALs have a never quit ethos that comes from a training regimen that pushes them to their limits constantly. But it also creates a level of humility. You know, when you're pushed that far, you realize you're only there by the grace of God. You're only there because you made it and the guy beside you didn't. And so there's this humility that comes in that sees you through all aspects of life, that allows you to step in. You're never considered overly elite. You're never considered for a position that is too low or too meaningless for you. You will do any job and you will do it to its utmost, no matter what, because you're capable, right? All of the personal baggage and all of the personal status stuff just goes out the window. I've seen Navy SEALs picking up garbage. And it's amazing when you think, you were trained to do this. Or I've seen them hand out food and to do that part of their job. And they do it with the same amount of pride and the same amount of esprit de corps that they would do if they were going in for a rescue. Their devotion to the mission and the objective, their devotion to one another, their devotion to the principles of being a Navy SEAL is unwavering. And you know what? We respect that, don't we? There's something about, give me that picture up there of the SEALs again, if we could, just that team, right? We respect these guys. First off, you do not want to meet one of these guys in a dark alley and you be the bad guy, because the bad guys don't survive. But we respect them. We don't want to be one of them, but we respect them and we need them. We know that we need men who are willing to go into harm's way and do the things that need done in order for all of us to sleep well at night. We need people who are wired to do the elite things so the world is a safe place for our kids. We need SEALs and we need other special forces and all of the branches of the military who are willing to risk everything it takes into a well thought out, highly executed special mission that might make the rest of us free and be willing and able to live our lives normally. During one of my deployments, I got a chance, when I was in the Marine Corps, I got a chance to work out with Navy SEALs and Force Recon, Marine Corps Force Recon Special Forces. They invited anybody who wanted to come to the hangar deck to work out with them, and I was in a helicopter squadron, and so every day I would get down and work out with the Navy SEALs and the Marine Recon, Force Recon guys. I was in the best shape I would ever be in my entire life. I was 160 pounds and probably about 5% body fat. It was incredible how these guys work out. And they'll let anybody come in and work out with them. And then they would let us, if you got to know them and got to work out with them, they would let you do some of their crazy stuff. Right? So I got some great stories of some of the crazy stuff they've let me do because I got to know them and they got to know me and they know my abilities and I got to work out with them. And then we got to deploy these guys into Beirut in the early 80s. And I got a chance to be a part of that. And so shout out to my helicopter guys, HMH 362. So let me ask you a question. Let's bring this back to church, right? Let me ask you a question. If we took our devotion to the Lord Jesus Christ to a level, not to a SEAL level, I don't know that anybody's going to do that, but what if we just ratcheted it up a bit? What if we took our devotion to the Lord to another level, to a serious level, to a level where we were willing to do whatever it takes, we were willing to step into crazy, maybe, that we were willing to live it out seriously enough, that real life change could happen and the world might be a different place to live in than it is today. What if we did that? What if we as believers could take this idea of devotion and what it meant to be a devoted believer and live it out in such a way that people might just want us around because they feel safe, they feel loved, they feel valued, they feel important, they feel significant because believers are doing what we're supposed to be doing, living out our devoted life. This is your first teaching note. If you've got that program, we fill in some blanks, and this is the first one. Living for Jesus should challenge us each day to live more fully and more devoted lives. We should be challenged to live it out every single day if we're followers of Jesus. Living for Jesus should challenge us. You should wake up today and go, I got to go into work today and I got to face that person. And that should be a challenge. It shouldn't be a downer. It should be like, okay, here we go. Let's go. Let's take this hill, right? Let's get in there and let's win the battle for Jesus today. Because God is weaving his story into our stories, and he wants our story to look and resemble his story in our lives. And when people don't see any of God in our lives, when people look at us and say, I don't see any God in there, right? That means I'm just living my life. I'm just living my story. But when I choose to let God start weaving his story into my story and God starts coming through, people start seeing him more than they start seeing me. That's world changing. So Jesus did this with his disciples. And I'm going to go to a passage that a lot of people have heard of. And we're not going to do something this morning that I think all of you are going to be glad for. That's going to come out of this passage. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. But we're going to turn to a passage in the Gospel according to John, one of my favorite books. If you've never read the book of John, it's a great place to start. Please don't try to read through the Bible starting at Genesis and just go through to the end. Don't do that. I mean, you can if you want to. But if you really want to read a book of the Bible, and today is one of those really nice days to sit inside and do something like that, start with the book of John. John is a phenomenal place to begin your reading of the Word of God. It's a love story between this young disciple and this young follower of Jesus and how he and Jesus interacted with each other and the relationship that they had. John literally calls himself the disciple Jesus loved. Like, how would you like to be in that place, right? I walked around being the guy Jesus loved. So here's the story. I'm going to give you a little preface. It's before celebration of Passover, and Jesus wants to get his disciples all together, and he needs to teach them some things because this celebration of Passover is also the same time frame in which he is going to give his life for the world and for the redemption of sin. And so that's going to happen at the same time. And so he needs to get his disciples all together, and he needs to do some final teaching. And this is I think this is probably one of the most challenging teachings he's ever given to any of his disciples, because he's going to break rules. He's going to break, some of you are rule breakers, right? Any rule breakers? No, don't hold your hand up, right? I know a couple of you. As a matter of fact, somebody just nudged somebody else and went, you're a rule breaker, I know you, right? Jesus is breaking the rules here. He's going to break some rules that are really steadfast and have been in place for many, 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 many years. And he's going to break them for a reason, because he needs to teach his disciples something really powerful and really profound. And so he's going to get everybody together, and he's going to do this thing called foot washing. And he's going to be the one who's going to wash the feet of his disciples. And so it says in verse 12, after washing their feet, he put on his robe again and sat down and asked, do you understand what I was doing? So that's his question, right? Do you understand what I was doing? I got down. It says he took off his outer robe. So everybody wore an inner garment, right? And then you put robes on over top. And so it says he took out his outer robe, and he took a basin, and he took water and put it in the basin and got down on his hands and knees with a towel over his shoulder, and he washed their feet. Now, this is common practice in the day of foot washing, but never from somebody like Jesus. And it says that's what he did. And he says once he did that, it says, do you understand what I was doing? You call me teacher. In other words, you call me master. You call me rabbi. You call me your leader. You call me the one you follow, right? You call me teacher and Lord, and you're right because that's what I am. And since I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. I tell you the truth, slaves are not greater than their master, nor is the messenger more important than the one who sends the message. Now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. There's a challenge for every single believer in that room, every single follower of Jesus, everyone who says, you're my teacher, you're my master, you're my leader, you're my Lord. Every single person sitting around that table is challenged to the core of who they are at this very moment. Those who are close, they know and they understand the customs of the day and that Jesus should never have done what he just did. Ever. He should have never done it. And in doing what he did, he broke so many rules and so many traditions, and he messed up the whole system of Judaism. He messed up the whole system of being a rabbi, of being a master, of being a leader, and being Lord. He messed it up. He flipped it and put it on its head. He literally turned it upside down because masters don't do this. Teachers, rabbis, Lord, you don't do this. For the master to wash the feet of the followers was not only unheard of, it's a slap to the cultural norms of the day, and it's a slap in the face of every other rabbi and every other religious leader of his day. And he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing, and so does everyone else sitting around the table. Like, what is he doing? You can hear the conversation like, is he doing what I think he's doing? He's not doing what I think he's doing. There's no way he literally, the Apostle Peter says, you are not washing my feet. You will not do this. You are not breaking these rules. You are not going to do this for me. There's no way. And Jesus says, if I don't do this, you're not part of me. So Peter goes, okay, then just pour the whole bowl over my head. Just wash all of me then. If that's what it takes for me to be your follower, just I'm all in, full immersion, right? But that's the pushback he gets from one of his own disciples. Like, you cannot do this. And Jesus says, if I can't do this to you, then you're not one of mine. You need to let me do this. You need to see this. You need to see this come from me. Because masters did not stoop to this level, but Jesus did. In the time of the disciples and when Jesus is walking the earth, a gathering like this would have meant that everybody got nice and dressed up, right? And then you left your house and you walked through the city streets and got to the room where it's going to happen, the upper room where the Passover is going to happen. And because of the nature of Middle Eastern life, everything's a little dusty, and so your feet are dusty. You know, you got a pair of sandals on. The rest of you's fine. The rest of you's all clean, but you just walked over there, and so now your feet are a little dusty and your feet are a little dirty. And it was up to the person who owned the home to offer you an opportunity to wash your feet when you came into the house. So there'd be a basin and a towel there, and you could take your sandals off, and you could wash your feet and put your sandals back on, or leave your sandals outside the door. That was the rule. And now, if the person who owned the home had a servant, the servant would wash your feet. Never the master, never the person who owned the home, never the rabbi, ever would wash your feet. That was not their job. It was considered inappropriate in most situations for a person to go beneath their status and beneath their station to wash feet. It's considered inappropriate. Nobody's going to touch dirty feet. If you're the master, your feet are washed for you by someone who is under you, learning from you. So it would have been appropriate for Jesus to say, every one of you should wash my feet. That was the norm, that every disciple would have come over and washed his feet, somewhat ceremonially, right? To represent their bowing down before the master. But instead, the master bows down before the servants. Now, I don't know if you're catching this or not. I don't know if you're catching the severity of this. I don't know if I've said this strongly or imposed this at a level in which you understand he just rocked the world. He just turned everything upside down. He is literally, for those who are sitting around the table, they are now convinced that he is the Messiah. He is the Son of the living God. He is the one who's going to bring salvation to the world. And the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, who left all of heaven and came to earth to do this for us, should never be washing my feet. But he's doing it for a reason. He's saying, this is how you live according to my way of doing things. And when Jesus drops this bomb on the disciples, the impact of everything that he does, the towel, the washcloth, the bowl, the water, everything must have left such an indelible mark that was down core into the souls of every one of those disciples that they would be willing not only to do anything for him, but to give their lives for him. And every situation that they found themselves in should, just like us, should be a situation where we ask the question, what would Jesus do if this were him? Because this is the kind of way he shows, this is what I would do. Jesus levels the playing field. He says, look, there's nobody better than another. Masters aren't better than their servants. Servants aren't better than their masters. The messenger aren't, he levels the playing field, right? We are all on the same playing field. Isn't that good to know? I don't know about you. It's just really good to know. When I see somebody drive by in a Lamborghini, I'm like, oh, wow. But you know what? We use phrases like, well, they pull their pants up just like everybody else, right? We used to say that in the military until we talked about generals. And generals, we said, have two privates holding their pants for them, and they jump in. Because they're generals, right? Nobody puts their pants on like a general, right? That's not true, by the way. But it is that whole thing, Jesus levels the playing field. He says we're all on the same. And the challenge is for all of us, the challenge for every single one of us is the same challenge. Will you feel too high, too other than? Is it too impossible for you to put a knee down for somebody else in the name of Jesus? Are you willing to do the unthinkable so that you can be a disciple of Jesus? Are you willing to live in such a way that you take the challenges and that the unthinkable things become normal? That you would never look at something that's below you, never look at something that would put you in a position where you're up and they're down, or you're too much for that. Can we level the playing field? That's what Jesus is doing with his disciples. And he has to, because he realizes that if he doesn't level the playing field for his disciples, they're never going to reach everybody. They're going to see some people as worthy and other people as unworthy of this message of salvation, right? He knows that's what's going to happen. Why? Because they're human like us. And that's how we function. And so Jesus says, look, the playing field's level. Everyone is equal. And for us, that might seem like he's challenging us to do the impossible, right? Those Navy SEALs are challenged every day to do the impossible by people who are teaching them who have done the impossible. Those who train Navy SEALs know that what they're asking those trainees to do is possible because they've done it themselves. You see, Jesus is asking us to do something that we might think is impossible, but it's something he's asking us to do because he's done it himself for us. Jesus challenges us to a standard with these few words that have the ability to rock your world and rock my world every single day. I want you to pay attention to these few words. They're going up on the screen right now. Here's what these few words are. Do as I have done to you. Do as I have done to you. I don't know about you. This comes from verse 15. I don't know about you. He says, I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. Those words scare me. Those words level my life. Those words challenge me every single day. And they should. Do as Jesus did. Do as I have done to you. Just say those words. Just say those words out loud for a minute. Just read those words off the screen. Would you do that with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do as I have done to you. Wow. Really, Jesus? You want me to do this? So I said a little bit ago that there's something we're not going to do this morning. It's something I have done in my lifetime because I come from a tradition and a background that does this. We are not doing foot washing today. I don't have a bunch of basins up here. We're not going to do that. I've been a part of that practice. I know my brother Ted has done that as well. If we come from our brethren background and the love feast has always included foot washing. And I've washed some gnarly looking feet, man. So we're not going to do that today. Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad? Because if I'd have let you know, next week we're doing foot washing, half of you would not be here. That's why they usually do foot washing on a special evening service, because they know half the people won't show up, right? Because nobody wants to do this, right? Nobody wants to do this. Jesus does the thing nobody wants to do, and then he says these words. Say them with me again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do as I have done to you. And what do we say? No way. No way. No way I'm doing that. No way I'm doing that. Being a devoted follower of Jesus, living out the Jesus life means these words have to become a daily mantra for us, a directive to live by. Just like the Navy SEALs have those phrases, right? The only easy day was yesterday. Do as I have done to you. It's a reason for me to live better. It's a driving force for me to do the right thing. It's a way to handle every situation the world throws at me. Do as I have done to you. And there are days, can we just fess up? There are days we look at this phrase and we're like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Don't ask me to do that today. Because I can't. It's too much. There's too much hurt, and there's too much pain, and there's too much involved. And don't ask me to do that. And Jesus looks at us up from the basin, up from the floor after finishing our feet, your feet, my feet. Jesus looks up at us and says, you can do this. I promise you can do this. I'm not saying it's easy. Jesus never said it's easy, right? He never looked at his disciples and said, now this should be easy for all of you. Just do this, it's easy, no problem. He didn't say that. He did the thing that was the hardest thing to do. He broke the rules doing something that is challenging and difficult for any of us to think about doing. If you've never had your feet washed by someone else, it's humbling. It's incredibly humbling. I fought it my first time. I wanted to be the guy who was washing everybody else's feet, and I didn't want my feet washed because I was like, I can't do this. I can wash somebody else's feet, but you can't wash my feet, man. I got to sit in a position where I have to let someone do something for me that I think is nasty. Right? This is nasty. And then someone said, it's your turn. And I had to sit down and take my shoes and my socks off and allow it to happen. And it taught me a lesson. That if I'm going to do as I have done to you, then I need to learn what he's done and to live into it. So how do we live? How do we live for Jesus and do what he has done for us? That's the question. Let's take this to the practical level, right? Every time you are with me, we're going to go practical for a bit, right? So there are some things that can help us get better at doing as Jesus has done for us every day. So I want to look at just 2 things that are going to be a part of your teaching notes, because this is not just a Sunday thing, right? This is not just a Sunday thing, right? Good. Just making sure we're on the same team here, right? So, the practical look at some of the things that we can do to incorporate in our lives, this mantra, this statement, do as I have done to you. This should be on our door frames, right? This should be at our bedside table. Before we even get out of bed, I should look over at the alarm clock, turn it off, and see the words, do as I have done to you, and be like, oh man, here we go, right? Because that's Navy SEALs get up every day, and you can't not be a Navy SEAL, right? Once you are one, right? You're going to do it the rest of your life. One of the things my wife knows about me, this is not my notes. One of the things that my wife knows about me is when we go out to a restaurant, I have to sit with my face to the door, my back to the wall, and I've already scoped out every exit and every person in the room. I've already done it. Because I just can't not do it. I've been trained to do it. And so what Jesus says is, look, step in and live in such a way that you've been trained to do what I have done for you every single day. Can you do that? Okay, how we do that? So let's talk about how we do it, and we'll wrap this up in just a minute. We're going to do as he's done because we need to constantly remind ourselves what he has done for us. So constantly remind yourself what he has done for you. What has he done for you? You can't do what he's done for you if you never think about what he's done for you. Back in the old days, back in the days when I was a kid and I would go to camp meetings and things like that, right? There was a song that said, count your blessings day one by one, see what the Lord has done. There's this cute little song, right? And I remember that song because it challenged me every single day to look at all the things that God has done for me. Too many times we dwell on the negative stuff that's right in front of us, right? Too many times we dwell on the things that are going wrong. We look at all the things, and we forget to ask the question, well, Lord, what have you done for me? Too many times we live in a negative life. And what I believe God does is he gives us opportunities to see his blessings and to see how good God can be. And every negative thing that has happened in my life has challenged me to grow and to be better, to be kinder and to be more compassionate. Every negative thing is a reminder to me that God is not done with me yet. I want to say that again because I think for somebody in the room, you need to hear this. Every negative thing that has happened in my life reminds me that God's not done with me yet. He's still working on it. He's still working on me, right? He's still got me on the anvil. He still sticks me in the fire, heats me up, and then brings me out and pounds me a bit, right? And I know this is going to hurt, but Lord, well, I lost my balance there. Lord, keep working on me. Every negative thing just reminds me that, God, you're not done. And thank God he's not done with me yet. Thank God he's not done with me yet, because if this is it, Lord, I don't want this to be it. If this is the final version of me, so I need to remember, God, everything you've done has been for my good. Everything you've done has been something that has made me better, made me more like you, made me of the person I am today, made me the man I am today, the pastor I am today, the husband I am today, the father I am today, the grandfather I am today, the friend I am today. Everything you've done has got me to this point, and you have refined me, and yet you will continue to do so until I take my last breath. So Lord, just remind me of all that you've done already. Put in front of me all the things. Let me never forget all that you have done already in my life. Never forget that day I climbed out the bedroom window when I was like 12 years old. Second story, jumped off the roof of the house over into the cherry tree that was 75 feet tall and climbed to the top. And my mother lost her mind that day. She's still at 90, she just turned 91 last week. She still reminds me, remember the day you climbed the cherry tree? I mean, it's like, yeah, Mom, I remember. Gosh, he saved me that day. And day after day after day after day since then. Day after day. I don't know how many close calls I've had, but I guarantee you I've had a few. I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I guarantee you I've had a few. And so I'm going to spend some time thinking, when life gets difficult, Lord, you got me through this before. You've pushed my boundaries. You walked me through it before. You taught me so much about my life and who I can be and how I can live it. And so do that again. And I will never forget all that you've done to get me here. Right? So the first thing we do is constantly remind ourselves of what he has done. If we're going to live for him, if we're going to live doing what he has asked us to do as I have done to you, the first one is we can remember all that he has done. And then secondly, here's the other thing we can do. Look for opportunities to do what he has done. If he says, do what I've done, then look for the opportunities to do the things he has done for you, for someone else. Right? Look for the opportunities, because I guarantee you he's going to put them in front of you. I guarantee you you're going to run into them. You may run into an opportunity today and you'll be like, oh gosh, this is what Dave was talking about. Right? I had somebody do this 2 weeks ago. They came to me and they said, you know that sermon you preached last weekend? I had to live that out on Monday morning. Darn it. Darn it. It's a good Pennsylvania Dutchie there. Darn it. I had to live that out. Because you see, what God does is he puts a word into our hearts, he puts a word into our ears, and then he challenges us to live it out by putting us in situations, right? So look for those opportunities to live out doing what he has done for us. And remember, he's done the unthinkable. He stepped into the room and did what no one expected. He turned the tables upside down. He turned everything upside down and took an opportunity to show us exactly just how far he was willing to go, and that no one was below him. The playing field is level. So look for those opportunities at dinner parties, at vacations, at family events, at the one-on-one at your work, or the team meetings at work, or the checkout store, or the gym, or the fitness center. And look for the opportunities to do what I have done for you. Remember what he's done, and look for the opportunities to do it yourself. Sound good? All right. Now, here's the hard part. Go do that. Right? Do as I have done to you. Go do that. I think the world around us looks different when we do it. I just think the way people look at us, the way people are affected by our presence, the way when we bring this kind of attitude into the world around us, everything changes. The atmosphere in the room changes, right? So let's pray that we can go and be people who do as he has done for us. Can we pray about that? Can we ask God to do that for us? I know what I'm asking. It's not Navy SEAL level, but it's pretty darn close, isn't it? Some days. To do what he has done for us. Heavenly Father, your story, it's your story. With our name, at the top of the page. So Lord, weave us into your story. Use us in our lives and our experiences to do as you have done, so that our story looks like your story every day. So that everything that we do becomes a part of this amazing and wonderful and godly story that is happening. And we trust, Lord, that no matter what we do, no matter what we go through, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how troubling, how painful, how hurtful, how wonderful, how joyful, how happy, no matter what, your story will be the one that lasts forever. Thank you, Lord, for the chance to be your people, living out your story. In Jesus' name we pray.